see if the gas has been taken, but you know.
Yeah, because he gets chased off by the Marine.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna pause.
Alright.
So you'll notice he went pool on 15 as well. So built his hatchery, built a drone, and a spawning pool.
Right.
And then he got out drones to 17, which is 3 drones, a
Right.
17 overlord, and 17 gas. Then 16 drone, which
Okay.
puts you back up to 17, which is what we're currently seeing now. And that drone's about to pop. So I'm going to hit play, 3, 2, 1, play. And this is the correct thing to do. You see a little bit of early bunker pressure. Just pull 3 drones. So you can even get away with 2 drones.
Right.
He loses a drone, so even more reason not to want to go buy food, because now we're 1 behind and it'll screw everything up. So I'm going to pause it quickly. Okay, we'll notice he got out 1 pair of lings. That's great, because you can control the Zelnaga watchtower and you can chase away this SCV.
Right.
You can also scout up his ramp with 1. You can see how many Marines if he's coming with those. And you build 2 queens simultaneously. And this you will find very helpful against Hellion harassment and against Banshee harassment, which are 2 of the main things everyone's scared of.
Yeah.
Right? Because you get 2 queens that quickly. You can, if you feel like it, you can creep tumor with both of them and have your bases connected in no time, or you can, you know, save their energy for transfuses, or you can just do the normal larva inject, see a fast expansion.
Yeah, I actually don't. I don't have a replay saved that I could have sent you, but I actually was for a little while doing like a 14 or 15 hatch with the double queen for a little while.
Well, I would recommend you get back to it, because this is what I'm going to indoctrinate you with for now.
That's fine.
And then we're going to be more flexible with it
I'm
later.
just gonna kind of blindly go with whatever you say, even if I lose or whatever for now,
Well,
and we'll work on if I get my butt kicked later or something.
Well, that's just the thing, is there's no magical build where I give it to you and it beats everything. But the great thing about having a plan, and in my opinion this is the best one, but you know, it's just me, to get you to the mid game.
Oh, it's definitely a good econ plan.
Yeah, exactly. And then that way, every time you go into a ladder game, you're saying, this is my goal, and then you can start noting down, like, I'm losing to this, and then we have lots of material to practice.
Right.
Okay, so, yeah, he gets the 2 queens. 3, 2, 1, play. And then he gets a spine crawler. At the same time, he gets Zergling speed, if I remember this replay correctly. I think he actually double larva spawns, which I think is insane, because you can't use that many larvae, especially when you're going to be investing.
Yeah, I would think you'd want to connect your creep.
Exactly. I think the main one should have been a creep tumor, but whatever. So Lord, I think he started it on 27. Lair on the second 100 gas, so that's an intuitive timing, same way that Zergling speed's an intuitive timing. And then gas is 2 and 3 when the lair's half done, if I remember this correctly. You'll notice he does get a creep tumor up, which is good, and the creep spread actually helps him a lot this game.
Right.
So you'll notice he's scouting this fast expand. He's getting quite a few Zerglings, and he has that 1 spine crawler. I personally like to get. I'm gonna pause it. I'm at 659. Where are you?
653. We're pretty close.
Okay.
I had to pause it for a quick second to turn my game sounds down a little bit so I could hear you, but I caught back up pretty quick.
Awesome, no worries. Okay, so you'll notice he got his 2 geysers here. He could have thrown down a Baneling Nest. In my opinion, you should throw down a Baneling Nest at 1/2 spire. 1/2 lair, sorry.
1/2 lair, alright.
Yeah, 1/2 lair. And same as the Roach Warren timing in Zerg vs. Protoss. 1/2 lair, you throw down your Roach Warren.
Right.
In my opinion, that's when you need it.
Just survive with the speedlings until then.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, these speedlings can do a lot of good stuff. This poking is not to kill SCVs. If it kills an SCV, that's a bonus. What it does is it splits the Terran's attention. You know, it might make him miss a depot or whatever, miss a meal. But it's an aggressive way of scouting, because you're going to see if he has a Hellion sitting here, or if you get hit by a tank right in the face, you know, that's a lot of information you've just got. So, good stuff by Rhett. Okay, 3, 2, 1, play. So is this helping you figure out, okay, this is when I want my lair, this is when I want my guys?
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, so he decides Baneling Nest right after lair. I think that's a little late. In fact, if Jinro, I think, had pushed more aggressively this game, Rhett probably would have died to it. Okay, let's pause here. What's the timing on his Spire? Do you have something to connect that to?
I've been putting spires down. Well, I mean, I typically, I definitely was getting, when I was getting to play standard and I was doing like a Muta Baneling deal against T, I was typically putting the Baneling Nest sometime while my layer was morphing. And then if I had the 200 gas when the layer popped, I mean, a lot of times I throw the because I tend to get both all four of my extractors while the layer was morphing in the past. So by the
Right.
time my layer popped, I could throw the spire down.
Right.
That's
Well,
what I was doing.
he had the correct amount of gas, but he didn't throw the spire down right away. You'll notice it just started building. He's in 100 extra gas, and he doesn't even have his fourth gas up yet. So I think throwing down all four during layer is gonna hurt your economy, and your
Right.
third's gonna be late. Right. You're not gonna be able to defend things, etc.
Right.
So I noticed that the first extractor he started mining from had about 2060, I think, when the spire went down.
Right.
So that's another thing you can time relative to, not just
Right.
buildings, but yeah. So 2060 on his first extractor, that's when he throws down his fourth extractor, gets a spire, and sends his drone out to expand.
Right.
And if I remember correctly, that drone is going to get there and throw down the hatchery at about halfway done the spire. So that's a good way of remembering, okay, the Terran's fast expanded. I want to have my third down at about halfway done my spire.
Okay.
So I'm going to play. 3, 2, 1, play. And we'll just notice that he's totally secure against this sort of earlier aggression. Got some Banelings out, can freely pump Zerglings if he needs to.
Right.
Gets Baneling speed really quickly. Again, the further and farther you get into the game, the more it becomes preference, and the more it's going to be like, well, I'd rather get Hydralisks out, or I'd rather get a fast carrier pace than Baneling speed. You know, he's getting Burrow and +1 for mutas, and I don't agree with either of those that early on in the game. But you know, so this
let's more the unupgraded mutas initially to get more numbers.
No, but let's not get into that too much. We're getting way ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so, alright, I just paused, and I'm going to say that this is as far as the educational value in this game goes for us.
Right,
because
it's going to all be metagame stuff.
Yeah, exactly, and it's going to be preference, it's going to be strategy, and we're going to get into strategy later. Today we're working on mechanics, so this is your idea. Have this ingrained in your head, watch this as many times as you need to, so that now what you're measuring yourself against is this game. So you look at your replays in the ladder, and then you look at this game, and you look, where's the discrepancy, and try and close that gap as much as possible so that your timings come out. You don't have to be as crazy as writing down every single time that, you know, his spire popped at 9:20, you know.
Yeah,
but
the general timings.
Exactly. Broad strokes for now, but you want to get this level of mechanics, because I didn't actually see you displaying this level of mechanics in any of your games, and in theory, this should be attainable for anyone on the planet.
Well, yeah.
Right? Exactly. You shouldn't. There's no excuse for you not to be playing to this level, because you know there's. All right, so that's very clear. Do you want to move into Protoss, or is that throwing a little bit too much at you?
No, that's fine. Because I mean, like this build, for instance, like a lot of the timings are very similar to when I was actually doing hatch first, anyways.
Yeah.
So I mean, I already kind of got a general concept of how this build works, doing it this way. In general, I think part of the reason why I only got away from it was fear of like those like crazy SCV rushes and junk like that, and just having trouble dealing with those. So I think that's really what kind of stopped me from getting away from it. I definitely wasn't timing like the Baneling nest at like that half layer, like you were talking. Like it was kind of more like a general. Well, my layer is forming. Sometime during that, I'll get my. And then my third was just kind of like, well, when my spire goes down, I'm moving the drone out to go get a third, which it might have been going up halfway at the spire. It might not have been. I don't know. It was tending to be like, okay, my spire's down, drone's heading off towards wherever I'm going to build my third.
And yeah, exactly. And this way, you can adjust those timings. You can say, "Whoa, my third's been getting totally demolished in every game. Let's move that to when the spire's done."
Probably the only somewhat sizable change would be the fact of the fourth extractor timing being different. Which he got that. When did he get that? I didn't even notice.
He got that with his spire.
He got that when he put the spire down.
Oh, okay. Second and third gas were halfway through lair. Fourth gas was with spire.
Okay. Yeah. So just the I'd say the only real big adjustment for me as far as like this particular build goes, where information wise would just be different, is just the more precise timing of the Baneling nest and the spire, and just the only major change, like I said, is probably just the gas timing. So that's pretty easy for me to keep in my head and move onward.
That's good that you've got it from an information standpoint, but I really do think you might struggle a little bit with executing that perfectly mechanically. Just from watching your replays, I don't know if you quite have the mechanics to be able to execute that perfectly. But we're not going to worry too much about that just now, because you want to move into a ZVP one, just so you have that in your head, too.
Sure.
So you can ladder it, because, I mean, we only have an hour-long lesson, so let's just get as much stuff in your head as we can. We'll practice a little bit mechanics, and then we're going to go into that ZVT replay, and I'll just briefly touch on some stuff. Okay, so let's let up that third game I sent you, which he gets pylon blocked, so it's kind of.
I've got it queued up. Do you want me to start playing it?
Yeah, go ahead. Actually, you can fast forward to like 2 minutes in, and then pause. That's generally what I do with my other students.
Yeah, through the beginning nonsense.
Yeah. So I'm there, and then you slow it down to ×2, and then we'll watch it to ×2 from there.
Right. All right, I'm at approximately 2 minutes.
Okay, so just before we start, Zerg versus Protoss. I had a conversation with Chef the other day. He likes 13 pool, 15 hatch. Idra and Machine both like 14 pool, 16 hatch, and that's the one I've seen most commonly recently.
Okay.
I actually prefer pool and gas before hatchery, but not 14 gas, 14 pool. I think that's bad. And so does Chef, and so does Machine, and so does Idra. So I would stop doing that if I were you. That's what you're still doing. Yeah, I like 14 pool, like 16, 17 gas sort of thing.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, I normally would. I don't know what I did in the replays I sent you, but I normally would tend to gas later against toss.
Yeah. And then, yeah, anyways, so...
Sorry, I threw you off.
No, it's cool. It's totally cool. I was actually trying to read something, so I got all confused. So, let's just go ahead and play. 3, 2, 1, play. And this is going to be your build for ZVP for the rest of your life. So you see the 14 pool going down, 2 drones dealing with the probe, 16 hatch goes down, excellent. Queen. Overlord, gas, drone.
It's like you scouted at what, like 10?
Sorry?
I know the scouting is somewhat preference too, but it looks like you scouted around 10.
I think it was 12. 10's pretty drastically early. That starts to slow you down when you're scouting like 10. I recommend 13 for ZVT and 12 for ZVP. But again, all on my recommendation. None of this is obviously set in stone.
Yeah. Can work on those little stupid metagame things later.
Yeah. And Zergling speed, as always, our favorite intuitive timing. I like that creep tumor rather than trying to go all larva inject happy.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're gonna get spawning pool before hatch. I mean, that second queen's gotta transverse that distance anyways.
Yep. And then our lair was intuitively timed as well. Just getting the Zerglings out, gonna poke around. And Roachborn, notice that, half lair. And at the same time as he got his Roachborn, he got his second gas in.
Okay.
And I'm gonna pause this. Can you see how this can deal with a wide variety of things? I mean, he's seen the expansion, right? He's seen this positioning here.
Right.
Turns out Ryan's doing something that's completely sort of wrong. 2 cannons before Nexus, you know, not doing against it.
Playing a little scared.
Yeah, like 8 lings, right? Yeah. Clearly, I pointed this out to him. He lost this and went, got crushed. I sort of pointed that out to him, and we're fine now. But you realize how this would, a 4 warp gate, you can hold that off pretty well with the roaches. You got a fast speed, you can push back. They can't expand comfortably. The Zerglings shut down any probes that might be wanting to scout. If he moves out with like a small 3 warp gate push while expanding, you can get all the lings with speed out really quickly. If you see a really fast Nexus with just sort of sentries for defense, you don't want all in it, you can throw up a 3rd really quickly. You haven't committed a huge amount to gas. You aren't like rushing for a Spire, you know. Yeah. It's a really good in-between build. And if he's going for an expansion into 6 warp gate, which we've been seeing a lot of, like you said, you know, when you see it in Dallas or... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've been seeing that 6 warp gate fad after MLG Dallas being a little popular when TT1 was doing that.
Oh, absolutely. And this is exactly what you want is you want that roach warren up quickly, you want roach speed out quickly, and this allows you the flexibility to get up a
Yeah,
third, not
I definitely
necessarily
think